This isn't done until they're dead.
Each new year brings a host of films that audiences worldwide eagerly await in anticipation. While all of these movies will bid to captivate our imagination, not all of them will succeed, as some will falter and fall by the side, while others will firmly root themselves within our hearts and minds. Such is the power of cinema. In today's marvelous video, we've compiled 25 films that will most likely blow up the box office this year, so that you don't waste your time on films that will waste yours. The movies we've deemed the most worthy of your viewing pleasure this year include some reboots, some spin-offs, and some sequels of our favorite movie franchises, all of whom will be returning to the big screen in 2025. There are also some promising new entries that we believe are worthy of your attention, so join us in this marvelous exploration as we take a look at the 20 most anticipated films of 2025. We're ready to get started, but before we get too ahead of ourselves, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
That ain't your brother.
Sinners. Sinners is a period-piece horror film set in the racially segregated southern U.S. From what we know about the film, it follows the story of identical twins Elijah and Elias Smoke, who have returned to their hometown after leading a dubious lifestyle. Unfortunately for the duo, what initially seems to be something of a triumphant homecoming soon turns into a nightmare that's all too real. The atmosphere seems to play heavily on magic and occult themes prevalent in the folk culture of the region at the time. The trailer also seems to imply that the magic of music is more than merely metaphorical. It seems to be very much real and able to invoke spirits and devils. The primary villains of this film are set to be vampires, and it'll be interesting to see director and writer Ryan Coogler's take on Hollywood's favorite monsters. Actor Michael B. Jordan is set to reunite with Coogler once again after working with him on the Creed films and Marvel's Black Panther. The movie seems to have several horror elements similar to Robert Rodriguez's cult classic From Dusk Till Dawn. The movie also stars Haley Steinfeld from Across the Spider-Verse, Wunmi Mosaku from Loki, Jamie Lawson from The Batman, Omar Benson Miller from 8 Mile, and Lola Kirk from Gone Girl. Ryan Coogler's Sinners is set to release in theaters on April 18th, 2025.
Look at you. So adorable.
Thunderbolts. The 14th installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Phase 5 and its 36th film overall, Thunderbolts is set to strike big screens on May 2nd, 2025. It'll feature a host of familiar characters from the MCU like Bucky, Red Guardian, Yelena Belova, John Walker, the Taskmaster, and Ghost going up against Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. This band of misfit anti-heroes, former villains, and troubled individuals will need to put their past and their base instincts behind them to protect a world bereft of the Avengers. Will they be able to do that and save the world, and in doing so, maybe save their own souls? Or will they falter? You'll have to wait till the 2nd of May to find out. For fans of Marvel's comics, this movie is also set to finally bring the Sentry to the big screens. The Sentry is one of Marvel's numerous takes on Superman and is said to have the powers of 1,000,000 exploding suns. The trailer showed us an unassuming character named Bob, which we know is short for Robert, and the Sentry's full name is Robert Reynolds. In the comics, he's arguably stronger than the likes of Thor or the Hulk, depending on which version of these characters he faces. The movie's being directed by Jake Schreier and will star Sebastian Stan and David Harbour, all of whom will reprise their respective roles from previous MCU films and TV shows. Louis Pullman will also be making his debut as the Sentry. This movie is sure to tickle the fancy of all the fans of superhero movies who are looking for something just a bit more grounded.
I need you to trust me. One last time.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Tom Cruise is set to reprise his role for the 8th time as Ethan Hunt, the Daredevil spy, in this latest offering from a well-beloved movie franchise. The film is the direct sequel to the 2023 Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, and it was supposed to be filmed back-to-back with it before there was a change of plans. This movie is in no way, shape, or form meant to usher in Tom Cruise hanging up his spy goggles for good, with rumors being that they're working on ideas for more Mission Impossible films in the future. Director Christopher McQuarrie returns to the helm for this film alongside the likes of Simon Pegg, Haley Atwell, Vanessa Kirby, and Ving Rhames, to name a few. This movie's set to hit theaters on May 23rd, 2025. Karate Kid Legends. May is a month full of old familiar faces making a return to the big screen. Following in the same vein to cap off this month, we have Karate Kid Legends. The story is set 3 years after the end of the critically acclaimed Cobra Kai series, with both Ralph Macchio and martial arts legend Jackie Chan returning to reprise their respective roles. It merges the Cobra Kai series, the 2010 Karate Kid film, and the original movies into one continuity. The plot is based around the story of a Chinese kung fu prodigy, Li Fong, by series newcomer Ben Wang, who was displaced from his home in Beijing and forced to move to New York City, along with his mentor, Mr. Han, played by Jackie Chan. Daniel, played by Ralph Macchio, is asked to help Li by Mr. Han after his young prodigy enters a martial arts tournament to help a friend. The movie is sure to take us back down memory lane and seems a fitting tribute to a storied franchise that many of us have grown up with, while providing the perfect avenue for some of the younger viewers to get into it. The film, according to Macchio, is his character finally passing on what he learned from Mr. Miyagi to another generation, making the story come full circle. The film's being directed by Jonathan Entwistle and is set to grace the silver screen on May 30th, 2025. Ballerina. While many might believe the story of our favorite dog-loving assassin, John Wick, has finally concluded, considering the ending of the fourth film, the franchise as a whole seems to just be getting started. Ballerina is a movie set in the John Wick universe that follows the story of a young girl named Eve, portrayed by Ana de Armas, as she undergoes the rigorous training to become a Ruska Roma assassin in order to avenge her father. Along the way, she even encounters Baba Yaga himself, which makes us believe that this movie is set before John Wick first goes into retirement. Ian McShane makes his return as the proprietor of the Continental, and it's honestly heartwarming to see Lance Reddick reprising his role as Chiron after the actor tragically passed in 2023. Going by the trailers, Ballerina is going to feature the same high-octane action sequences with tight gunplay and fight choreography that we've come to expect from the John Wick films. Len Wiseman of the vampire and werewolf film franchise Underworld is set to take over the helm from Chad Stahelski, who directed the previous 4 films in this universe. Let's hope it lives up to the high standards its predecessor set. Ballerina is set to release in early June 2025. How to Train Your Dragon live action. The well-beloved 2010 film that spawned one of the most iconic animated movie franchises of all time is set to return to the big screen as a live-action film this summer. We don't know yet if it'll be a frame-to-frame retelling of this iconic film or more of a reimagination. One thing is for sure, we can't wait to see Gerard Butler reprise his role as Stoic in the flesh this time around. For fans of the series, it's yet another excuse to go watch one of your favorite movies again, and if you're one of those who were on the fence about this series, we highly recommend you give this film a shot. Dean DeBlois returns as both screenwriter and director for this movie, and we can expect it to make its way to theaters on June 13th, 2025. 28 years later. The third installment in the cult classic 28 Days Later franchise sees director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland team up once again after taking a hiatus from the second film in the series. Set exactly 10,228 days after a biological weapon induced a violent rage into humans and infected modern society, causing its collapse, this movie follows the story of a young boy on a journey to find a doctor to cure his mother's illness. The film will highlight how the remnants of humanity navigate their lives, with the ominous tagline of the film stating that time didn't heal anything. We might also get to see Cillian Murphy returning to reprise his role as Jim from the first movie, which would be something to look forward to. According to the people behind this film, 28 years later is not a conclusion to a trilogy, but is meant to launch a trilogy with 2 more films after it, supposedly in development. It's been quite some time since we last received a half-decent zombie flick, and 28 years later might just be the cure for our itch. The movie will be coming to your nearest theater on June 20th, 2025. Jurassic World Rebirth. 5 years after the events of Jurassic Park Dominion, a fresh new foray into the realm of dinosaurs begins once more. A covert operative, Zora Bennett, played by Scarlett Johansson, is tasked with gathering the DNA samples of the largest dinosaurs to thrive on land, water, and air respectively, alongside Dr. Henry Loomis, played by Jonathan Bailey, and Duncan Kincaid, played by Mahershala Ali, and of course this DNA has to be collected from the site of the original Jurassic Park. On their journey, they come across a family who gets tangled up with them them as the two groups get stranded on this godforsaken island. While Scarlett Johansson and co. might have bitten off more than they can chew by embarking on this dangerous mission, the dinosaurs most certainly have not. We're going to get to see a number of fan-favorite dinosaurs make a return to the series, along with yet another movie-only exclusive dinosaur called the D-Rex. Since the island has been left unattended after being abandoned, many of the experimental dinosaurs that have been housed here have continued to mutate and thrive on their own. Now the humans on this island must work together in order to escape their terrifying fate. The Jurassic franchise is yet another iconic franchise from most of our childhoods, and every time a new movie drops, regardless of its quality, most of us watch it, and this one will probably be no different. As the name suggests, this movie will feature an all-new director and cast with Gareth Edwards of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and the 2014 Godzilla movie is set to direct the film. Jurassic World Rebirth is hitting theaters on July 2nd, 2025. Superman! With the DCEU set for a fresh start under the leadership of James Gunn, Superman, the first movie in this new universe, is all set to hit the big screens on July 11th, 2025. Fan favorite Henry Cavill won't be reprising his role as Superman in this new movie. Instead, it will be David Corenswet who will be making his debut as the latest actor to portray the Man of Steel. According to Gunn, this version of Superman will not be as young as the one in Smallville or as old as Cavill's Superman. There also seems to be a clear shift in tone from Zack Snyder's take on this iconic superhero. David Corenswet is set to portray a Superman who's much more patient and kinder and who truly stands for truth and justice while upholding the idealistic American way. With the movie set to herald in a new dawn in DC's extended universe, there are a host of new characters from the comic books will be making their debut in this film. We know that Kara Zor-El, or Supergirl, will be played by actress Millie Alcock, making this the first Superman film to feature both cousins in the same movie. While we might not be getting Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, or even Jon Stewart, we will be getting Guy Gardner as Green Lantern for this film. Nathan Fillion is all set to portray this boisterous, hot-headed character. We'll also be getting Kendra Saunders, aka Hawkgirl, Metamorpho, and Mr. Terrific in the upcoming film. Nicholas Hoult will be playing the role of Superman's arch-nemesis, Lex Luthor, while Sean Gunn is going to take on the role of the villainous Maxwell Lord. Finally, Superman's heartthrob, Lois Lane, is going to be portrayed by actress Rachel Brosnahan. This movie is expected to set the standard and tone for what this new DCEU will be, and since we're talking about Superman here, it has managed to spark hope within our hearts for its future as well.
I am right here. Whatever life throws at us.
The Fantastic Four: First Steps. July is set to end with a bang as yet another massive superhero film, The Fantastic Four: First Steps, is set to hit theaters on July 25th, 2025. While this is not the first time Marvel's first family has made their debut on the big screen, it certainly looks like the most promising so far. The Fantastic Four: First Steps is set to launch the 6th phase of the MCU and its 37th overall offering. The story is set in a retro 1960s Earth and introduces iconic characters like the Silver Surfer and Galactus. Once again, the Fantastic Four will be fighting for the survival of their world when Galactus comes calling along with his herald, the Silver Surfer. And believe us, we're really excited about it. This time, the Devourer of Worlds is set to be more than just a silhouette within a cosmic storm like in the 2007 film Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Pedro Pascal will be playing the role of the world's smartest man, Reed Richards, in this new installment, along with Vanessa Kirby playing the Invisible Woman, Eben Moss-Bacharach playing the Thing, and Joseph Quinn playing the Human Torch, rounding out the rest of the classic quartet. The trailers look quite promising, and who knows, third time might be just the charm for this classic superhero team. The Conjuring: Last Rites. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga return for the 4th time to reprise their roles as paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren in this iconic horror movie franchise. As always, they must confront demonic entities that have been tormenting a family while also coming to terms with their own past. This time around, it's speculated that the movie will be based around the real-life hauntings of the Smorrell family from Pennsylvania, USA, who sought the help of Ed and Lorraine to rescue their family from a demonic infestation in their home. It's being promoted as the final Conjuring film and will feature all the iconic demon spirits that we've come across in these films so far. The movie will be directed by Michael Chavez, and James Wan and Peter Safran will return as producers. The horror is coming to your nearest movie theater on September 5th, 2025. The Bride. Horror fans are going to be spoiled this September with numerous offerings from this genre hitting the theater for your viewing pleasure. The Bride draws heavy inspiration from James Whale's 1935 film Bride of Frankenstein, which in turn was inspired by Mary Shelley's iconic novel Frankenstein. The plot follows Dr. Frankenstein, who has traveled to Chicago in 1930 in order to seek the help of Dr. Euphronius in order to create a companion for himself. The two then proceed to resurrect a young murdered woman for this purpose, giving birth to the titular bride. The movie explores the moral and societal complications that follow such an act, with the police getting involved in a world that is changing radically. It has a star-studded cast including 2 Oscar winners, Christian Bale, who will be playing the role of Frankenstein's monster, and Penelope Cruz, along with a number of Oscar noms like Jake Gyllenhaal, Annette Bening, Jeannie Berlin, and Jessie Buckley. Oh, and we almost forgot to mention, this movie is a musical. The Bride will be on big screens on September 26, 2025. Saw 11. Saw looks to be going strong even in 2025 with yet another installment of this iconic horror franchise set to grace the silver screens later this year. After the franchise experienced a renaissance of sorts due to the success of Saw X, which saw the film return to its more grounded roots, there was no doubt that it would be followed up with yet another film. While details regarding the plot for this new offering aren't yet available, from what we know, it will continue to give us more insight into the character of John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, and the machinations of his morally ambiguous mind. We know that Tobin Bell will be returning to reprise his role as Jigsaw, however, not much is known about who the rest of the cast will be. Bell expressed great excitement in getting to continue his exploration of Kramer's character. After a delay saw the release date being pushed back by almost a year, we now know that it will be released on September 26, 2025, rounding out a horror-filled month. Tron, Ares. One of the biggest sci-fi franchises in the world, Tron is all set to return to the big screen in 2025. While no particular details about the plot have been released, we do know that Jared Leto is set to portray the titular character Ares, who is an AI that's been sent on a dangerous mission into the real world that will most likely blur the boundaries between the two realms. Tron Ares was actually going to be a reboot of the series, but it was later decided that it would be a standalone sequel to the 2010 film Tron Legacy, meaning a number of cast members are going to be making a return. The film will score humanity's struggle with AI integration in everyday life for the first time, with a much larger threat looming in the background. Tron Ares is coming to theaters on October 10th, 2025. Halloween Aftermath. Yet another juggernaut of the horror genre is set to make its return in 2025, with Halloween Aftermath hitting theaters sometime in October, with the exact dates yet to be announced. Following the events of Halloween 2018, the residents of Haddonfield are trying to piece their lives together while being continuously plagued by flashbacks of the horrors they endured. Unfortunately for them, even though Michael Myers has disappeared from their lives, evil hasn't, and it begins to rear its ugly head once more. The Shape isn't done shaping their lives just yet, and Haddonfield must contend with a fresh wave of terror as things begin to go awry quickly and fast. Michael Myers is one of the most iconic horror villains in cinema, and to see him make a return to the big screen is always a terrifying treat. We can't wait to see what director James Grima and writer Cole Tatum have in store for us with this latest offering. Mortal Kombat 2. Directed by Simon McQuoid, Mortal Kombat 2 is going to be the direct sequel to the 2021 Mortal Kombat film. It continues with the story from the first film while introducing arguably one of the most popular characters from the game, Johnny Cage, portrayed by none other than Carl Urban himself. According to game creator Ed Boon, Urban's take on the character is going to be somewhat different from that of the video games. Other notable Mortal Kombat characters that will make an appearance include Sindel and Shao Kahn, the ruler of Outworld. This movie will continue to explore the deep lore of the video games while staying true to itself. Japanese superstar Hiroyuki Sanada is also set to reprise his role as the Flaming Ninja Scorpion from the previous film. The movie is set to come out on October 24th, 2025, and we'll be sure to keep you up to date as we get more news regarding this movie adaptation of an iconic video game. Predator Badlands. We kick off November with Predator Badlands, which will follow the story of two sisters as they cross paths with a Yautja warrior who traverses a land unfamiliar to him. Following the success of Prey, which rejuvenated this storied franchise, work on the 7th installment in the series, Predator Badlands, began in earnest. There's not much known regarding the cast or the plot outside of the fact that Prey director Dan Trachtenberg will be returning to helm this project, along with actress Ellie Fanning, who has been confirmed as the lead character. Predator films over the years have had a mixed reception, with some doing extremely well, with others being reviled by critics and fans alike. Let's hope Badlands will truly resurrect this franchise and ensure that we'll be getting more Predator movies in the future. The release date for this film is set for November 7th, 2025. Now You See Me 3. The Now You See Me series follows a group of magicians called the Four Horsemen who use their abilities to commit high-stake heists. As the franchise has grown, so has the lore regarding this world, with more depth being added. Despite the lukewarm reception that the second film received, the folks behind the franchise have returned with a third installment, which will see the likes of Jesse Eisenberg, Morgan Freeman, Daniel Radcliffe, Woody Harrelson, Mark Ruffalo, and Isla Fisher, all returning to reprise their roles from the previous films. According to director Ruben Fleischer, Now You See Me 3 will be looking to improve upon the delivery of the heist sequences, and it has a lot of things in store for it to connect to the current generation of fans. Since it's being released 9 years after the second film, it will be interesting to see how they plan to bring new fans to the series while satisfying old ones. Now You See Me 3 has all the ingredients, including a stellar cast, to work some real magic. This one's coming out in movie theaters on November 14th, 2025. Zootopia 2! After talks of a sequel starting as early as 2016, we're finally getting a follow-up to the hit animated buddy cop film Zootopia this year. Detective Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde embark on a journey to crack yet another tough case, this time involving a mysterious reptile. Nick seems to have settled in well as the first fox in the police department, though we might see his past trying to catch up with him in this new film. His expertise will serve the duo well when they try to navigate the seedy underground in search of their quarry. We also can't wait to see the ever-optimistic Judy back in action, and her chemistry with Nick is bound to serve us a healthy dose of dopamine throughout the movie. Pop star Shakira also makes her return as the singing sensation and predator rights activist Gazelle in this film. Actors Ginnifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman also return to lend their voices to the two main characters of the film. Directed by Byron Howard, the man who also helmed the first film of the series, Zootopia 2 will be coming to a theater near you on November 26, 2025. Avatar: Fire and Ash. When James Cameron first released the critically acclaimed movie Avatar, he stated that, were it to be successful, he would do at least 2 sequels to the film. Here we are 16 years later, looking forward to getting that third film in the Avatar franchise, named Fire and Ash, later this year. The filming for this movie began at the same time as Avatar: The Way of the Water, which should give you an idea about the giant undertaking that this upcoming film was. In Fire and Ash, we'll explore many more cultures in the world of Pandora and follow the adventures of Jake Sully, played by Sam Worthington, and his family and friends. So far, the narrative in the Avatar films has been that the Na'vi are the good guys, while everything evil is represented by humans. Cameron wants to shift this narrative and muddy the notion of morality that exists within this universe by showing a darker aspect of the Na'vi. The film's antagonists this time are called the Ash People, who are a fiery version of the Na'vi. Staying true to his commitment to exploring new cultures in this film, we'll also be introduced to a group of nomads called the Wind Traders, who were inspired by nomadic traders who plied their trade along the Silk Route in ancient times. This film will see most of the old characters make a return, with Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Kate Winslet, Cliff Curtis, and Jermaine Clement all set to reprise their roles. Although this is the third film in the franchise, James Cameron has hinted that there will be 2 more movies following this one. Avatar: Fire and Ash will be in theaters on December 19th, 2025. Marvelous Verdict! 2025 seems to be jam-packed with potential box office blockbusters, and we for one can't wait to watch them all. Even with the advent of various streaming services, there's just something about getting to the movie theater, ordering some snacks, and disconnecting from reality that we all enjoy. Thanks to these films, we'll be able to continue doing that this year as well. From movies that make us scream to those that have us holding our seams, we hope you enjoyed our list of 20 of the most anticipated films of 2025. Let us know which one of these films you are most looking forward to. You can also tell us if there are any movies that you feel should have been on this list that we might have missed. Let's continue to enjoy our love for films and cinema together at Marvelous Videos, where we've got you covered for all your favorite characters, movies, and TV shows. If you liked this video, be sure to check out the rest of our channel. Thanks for sticking with us right to the end of this one. Until next time, stay safe and stay marvelous.